Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. It is one of my 3 most favorite times of the year. It is the spooky season. It is officially here. Some of us started celebrating that last month in November, but this is October, and of course you know what that means. This is Bricktober. If you've been a fan of the channel, you know what's coming up. If this is your first time here, let me just say that this month, the month of October, the theme shifts. That we look mostly at things that are ghosts, goblins, those things that go bump in the night, those things that scare us in like those lonely wee hours of the night when the moon is high and the wolves are howling. And I just absolutely love this time of year. For me, this is absolutely the start of the holidays. And today, for the first day of Bricktober, which is of course what I call it, we are taking a look at this Jada Toys Dracula Bela Lugosi variant. I cannot wait to open this. Full disclosure, I actually got this for Christmas last year, 2022, and I waited until now to open it up. I was saving it for this, so of course this is one of the first things that we're going to be opening up. A few things that I also have for this month coming up is the Jada Toys Wolfman and Jada Toys Invisible Man. Now, there is some bad news with this that I just recently found out, because I was wondering, hey, when's the Mummy coming out? Because we did see a test shot of the Mummy at, I think it was Comic-Con. I can't remember if it was this year's Comic-Con or Comic-Con last year, but we have seen test shots of the Mummy. Well, unfortunately, the word on the street is that Jada Toys has lost the Universal Monsters licensing, which to me is a big bummer, because we only needed 2 more. We only needed the Mummy and the Phantom of the Opera. And to not get those 2, like now if I want a complete set, I have to go back and spend money again and buy up the NECA line. And I really didn't want to get the NECA figures, not because I have anything against them, but because I liked Jada, because it was at that 6-inch scale, and I really liked a lot of the accessories that they were packing in with their figures. Now, getting back to this was made with an agreement with the Lugosi estate to get his likeness and put it on the Dracula body. As far as I know, and I haven't really opened it yet to take a look, as far as I know, this is basically the vampire figure that we looked at last year. This was the first vampire figure, the first Dracula figure that they came out with. It's just that now it has the Lugosi likeness on it. And this box is phenomenal. That you can see, this is obviously not any of the standard packaging that we received with the Jada figures. You can see that it is not a window, that we have the big Lugosi likeness right here up front, Lugosi's name, Dracula, and the bat down here. I love the bat wings that are sort of coming out from behind his head. That's very clever. I really dig that. On this side, we have Bela Lugosi's signature right there. Whole lot of eye-crossing legalese over here. Right here, this is cool, that we have still shots from, I think some of these are from, well, no, all of these are from his stage production. That's the other thing. This is actually based on his performance on stage, not the actual Universal picture. I don't know if they did that just so that this stands out, or if there was some kind of licensing issue that they just wanted to do this based off of the stage production. But either way, I think that's cool. It makes this figure very unique. And by the way, up top, we just have Dracula in red. On the bottom, same thing. Now, something else that I really dig about this, even though this is not a window box, you have a magnet over here, and this does open up. And you can see that we have this street scene right here from, like, what was it, the west side of London? Fulton Theatre. Fulton Theatre in New York, not the West End of London. I don't know why I said that. I didn't realize I did that until I was editing. It was the Fulton Theatre in New York. Don't at me. Where Bela Lugosi in Dracula, you have the print of advertisement for him So this is all very cool. And what is that down there? Oh, it looks like you have a little bit of a program right there. Over here, we have Lugosi behind the window, and there is a tab right here that this will open up, and you'll be able to pop him out, but we'll take a look at that in a second. I do enjoy that the cutout here is in the shape of a coffin, and then back here we have this red tab that we pull on this, and there is a tray underneath that has all of the accessories. So right off the bat, this packaging, this display, this presentation is fantastic. And I really like how you can look back there that like the red is quilted like the inside of a coffin. I really like that. This is some great, great packaging right here. Whoops. Now this was originally a Jada Next Level exclusive. That's their website. Originally this was a Jada Next Level exclusive, but you can pick this up now at Big Bad Toy Store, link in the description below. But without further ado, let's just get him out of the box and take a look at Jada Toys' Bela Lugosi Dracula. So now here he is, Bela Lugosi, out of his coffin, and putting the tape measure to him, we can see that he is approximately pretty much dead on 6¼ inches to the top of his head. So when it comes to Vlad right here, a lot of the greats have played him throughout the years. Christopher Lee, Frank Langella, Gary Oldman, Nick Cage, you know, the giants. But when we're talking about the Universal monsters, Bela Lugosi is the one that you think of. He is the one that you go to. He is the classic, the iconic, some would say, iteration of the original Dracula. And this is a really great face sculpt. This is a really great likeness. We have another one that we'll take a look at once we get to the accessories. But I think they did a really fantastic job of capturing Lugosi's likeness, that slicked back, shiny black hair, that iconic, like, Dracula didn't look like this until Lugosi started playing him. Dracula in the novel is described as a very unkempt individual with shaggy eyebrows, very much like, well, not very much like, but kind of like how Gary Oldman was in the beginning of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And this really changed the way that Dracula was portrayed. That after Lugosi, pretty much Dracula was displayed or portrayed like this until Gary Oldman. And even now, I think this is more of what people think when they think classic Dracula. Even in Dungeons and Dragons, Strahd von Zarovich was absolutely based off of this version of Count Dracula. Now, if we take a look at the Jada Toys first Dracula that came out, you can see that they were really trying to do a Lugosi light likeness. Like they wanted to capture the essence of Bela Lugosi, but they didn't want to, well, they couldn't get that exact match. But you can see it's a very close likeness. And yes, the collar is ripped. That was totally me. That's not the figure. That was my fault. I need to get another standard Dracula to get that cape fixed. But I think they did a good job with the first one, but this one just really finishes it off. Now, taking a look at the body, and I shouldn't have gotten rid of that first Dracula so soon, taking a look at the body, that the body right here is pretty much complete reuse from the original one, except for certain parts of the torso. Because, let me just set Bella down for a moment, and let's get the cape pulled back and out of the way. I would take it off, but if you remember, this one is pinned into the back, and it's just kind of a hassle to get it out right now. But the legs, the arms, the top coat are all the same. It's when you peel back the top coat and you look at the torso piece, the undervest, where we have differences. That first of all, the movie, the Universal movie version of Dracula does not have the chain going across, like the pocket watch chain going across his vest right there, as Bela Lugosi's does. Also, the Universal Monsters version has the ribbon with the medallion that I believe was the crest of the House of Dracula, whereas the stage production Bela Lugosi does not have that. They both have the bow tie, but there are subtle differences with the undershirt, with the shirt, and the vest. Other than that, everything is reused right down to the shoes. You can even see that like the pocket square is the same, the arms are the same, and a lot of the hands that come with Bela Lugosi are the same as the Universal Monsters release of Dracula. And like I said, I keep saying this is the Universal Monsters release of Dracula because this is based off of the stage production. Later, we'll pop the heads and do a head swap and see what it looks like getting Bela Lugosi's head on this body. But I do like that they based this off of the stage production rather than doing a complete redo and giving us the movie version again, because while it's not completely different as you just saw, and it is a lot of reuse, it still has very much a different vibe, a different feel, a different look to it. So that even if you swap the heads and you put Bella's head on the movie monster version of Dracula, it's nice that we have a different version of him right here. And I do like the detail that they give to a lot of the clothing of this figure. Hold on, let me zoom in for a second here. Whoop, too much. There we go. And for this being an exclusive offering, well, initially an exclusive offering, I like that they painted up the chain coming across the vest right there, how that's gold. It would have been cool if they could have painted the buttons. And maybe, I wasn't alive during this time, maybe buttons on a coat like this were black to blend in with it, but it would have been cool to see them like maybe brass or gold, or even silver. That, I think, would have been nice. Going back to the head sculpt, I do like the head sculpt. I like the makeup that they put around the eyes to make the eyes look ashen and sunken in. I think that's really cool. The arched eyebrow, I love that touch. The off-white of the hands, the pale-looking hands, along with the pale skin tone, that's very good as well. Don't know if that's how it actually was in the theater. Don't know if he had makeup that made him look pale in the theater, but I do appreciate that they added it in for the figure. And then we have the coat tails in back for his tuxedo. Whoops. We have that little bit of wrinkling right here in back. We have some really good texturing of the tuxedo suit that you can see folds up in the arms, buttons on the collars, even like a little bit of wrinkle in the pants when we get to the bottom of the pants where it meets up with the shoes. I really like that. Very simple sculpt, but I mean, this is what he looked like, so you can't really do much to jazz it up. Like, this was the look of the time period that he was on stage, so I appreciate that. Very monochrome, but once again, that was the style at the time. Now, taking a look at articulation, he will do a complete 360 spin. He has some good tilt from side to side. He can look up. He can look down. Arms will do a full 360 spin. Now, issue that I had with the original Dracula, and carries over with this one because it's a lot of the same use, is that this bicep swivel was very weak. The Dracula body was one of the first ones that they brought out, so they were still learning, and there were some mistakes made, and this bicep swivel was definitely one of the mistakes that was made, because when you try and lift to bring the arm up, that will start to bend, so you kind of got to get underneath it, push in on it, and lift. So it'll come up to 90, but just be aware that that is very loose right in there. You can even see that it's gapping a little, which is unfortunate. But like I said, it's one of the first bodies they made. They were just figuring things out. I would have liked to have seen them redo the arms a little bit. I just noticed that the arms are a little gummy at the elbow too, and it's bowing. I would have liked to have seen them redo the arms a bit right there. But we do have the bicep swivel. Whoop. That also, the bicep swivel can be a little ugly because of how it's cut right there. Double jointed elbows with some really good travel. Wrists pivot, wrists hinge in and out. Oh, and speaking of the sculpt in the wrists, I do like how you have like that double look in there, that double seam of like the shirt sleeve and then the coat sleeve. See what I mean? See how easily that popped off? I was having real problems with that. That I had to heat the peg back up to get it to pop back on. I don't think it's completely cooled and reformed yet. But underneath this, there's not much for waste. He'll turn. He feels like he can do, yeah, there he goes. He can do a full 360. He has a little bit of side to side. Not really much rocking back, not really much rocking forward. It's unfortunate because you always kind of want to have Dracula be able to, like, get down on the people that he's biting. Legs will come out to the side. Legs will go forward. Legs will go back. You have a thigh cut right there. There's a very loose swivel. I like that. Double jointed knees with some travel, but also like really flattens right there. No boot cut. Wrists will hinge side to side. Ankles will rock back. Ankles will rock forward, but you can see that it's also very weak on the peg, that it'll start to disconnect if it comes too far forward. And it doesn't, I thought it pivoted, but it doesn't. There's no ball pivot for the feet. So out of the box, Bela comes with these relaxed open hands. He also comes with these gripping hands, but he doesn't have any accessories to grip. And he comes with these fiendish attack gonna getcha hands. Okay, so through most of this video, you've seen this face. This is the face that he comes with out of the packaging. This is the face portrait that he comes with out of the packaging. That it's very much a neutral face, but still very menacing, still very intimidating, especially with that arched eyebrow. I really love that. But we can pop this head off, and then we have this, his more sinister, I'm gonna bite you, Dracula's on the attack look. Once again, very good likeness of Bela Lugosi. No fangs, though. Not to keep harping on this, but remember, this is a version of him from the stage production. He's not going to have a full-fanged snarl face. I've played Dracula 3 times. It's not easy to perform with fangs, with fake fangs in. So a lot of times, whenever we're on stage, we just leave the fangs out, and it's just implied that we have them, because the audience isn't really going to be able to see anyway. So I guarantee that was the same thing that was going on with his production, that he didn't actually have the fangs in. So whenever he went in for, like, the bite, he just sort of snarled like this. Now, something that I wanted to show you, let's get this out of the way, and let's bring in our other Dracula right here and pop the head off. This is the universal version. That we have the ball joint, and it's the same size ball joint, and here's our Lugosi head, but the problem is that the stem is too long. That right there, he doesn't really look too bad, but look at this. There's really there's way too much gap between the face portrait, the head sculpt, and the neck. Now, if we bring the cape forward, I pulled it back so we could see. If we bring the cape forward, the collar, when it's fixed, will hide that. Okay? So if you wanted to play mix and match and put Lugosi's likeness on the universal body, oh, it's stuck underneath there, you can make it work. You can cheat. It adds a little bit of height to him. But just so you know, when the cape is peeled away, there's going to be that gap right there. Now, likewise, if you wanted to put the universal head on the Lugosi body, that the stem is a little too short that it can sit on there. And it's really more just sitting on the neck joint and the neck sculpt. That it didn't really pop in there. So, yeah, it doesn't really work on this body. Now, taking a look at some other accessories that he comes with, we, of course, have his cape. And this is a much more higher quality cape than what came with the previous version of Dracula. The inside is a very soft silk lining. The outside also has a nice sheen to it. Also, there is a wire running through this entire cape, which is something that the standard release of Dracula was missing. Now, we only have this little band right here that goes around the neck. So we have to pop the head off one more time. And then we can slip this down. I don't know if you can see, but there is a clear piece of plastic that kind of has to stretch around the neck sculpt right there, the neck peg that comes up. And then we can fold that neck piece back. And there we go. We have him fully decked up in his cape, wired cape, get some nice dramatic Dracula in the wind poses going on. I really appreciate this. I really enjoy this. I feel like a wire is definitely something that was missing from the first cape. I think the original figure could be improved upon exponentially if we had a wire running through that cape. And it's kind of made me want to go and look for a replacement cape for the original one, because here we have Bela in his cape, which, by the way, on stage, not a lot of people don't know this, but he did not have a red lining inside his cape. I forget who the first one was that did it, but everybody thinks of Bela Lugosi's Dracula having that red lining in the cape, even though the movie is in black and white. But he didn't. The interior of his cape was white. I forget who was the first one to have the red. Whoop, let's fix his foot. And like I said, I ripped this. This is me. I got to get a new one before they sell out, because apparently now, once they're gone, they're gone. And you can see that Bela's is very much more, or is longer. You can shape it with the wire. One thing that I like about this one, though, is that there's enough material that it does come over the shoulders and sort of enshroud him, whereas this one doesn't really do it. You can mess around with the wire, but it doesn't really give you enough material to bring it all together up front like the movie one does. And now the rest of the accessories that we get are little replicas of, like, basically the ads, the posters, things that would be hanging around the theater house in person. Bela Lugosi, Dracula Lugosi. We have another one right here. Like, this is all just reproductions of actual, like, marketing material that was out during the time when he was performing, when he was playing Dracula. And we have a few more. These are nice additions, but this is totally something that we're probably going to lose, and the Carpet Monster is going to get them, which is why I appreciate that they do give us all in a plastic baggie, and that baggie has a place inside the packaging. The packaging, once again, very nice, very collector-friendly packaging, that even though I pulled this all out, there's plenty of space, and it'll all fit back into the box. Whoop. And here we have a replica of what I think is the playbill, possibly. It's so small, I can't see. Wait, there we go. No, this is just a flyer. This isn't the playbill. This is just a flyer for it. But look how small those are. Like, these are some great additions. These are some great props. But he doesn't come with any other accessories, like how the Universal one came with the candelabra or the bat as well. The only real accessory that we get with him that he can use, that he can wear, is the cape, along with the additional hands and the additional head sculpt. And now for size comparison, here he is with fellow Universal monsters, the original Dracula that we've been looking at, and Frankenstein's monster. Here he is beside Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Baroness and Cobra Commander. Here he is beside McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Etrigan the Demon, and McFarlane Toys The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt Eridan Brioc Glass. Just for fun, here he is beside a few more McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse figures, the Collect-to-Build Solomon Grundy and Blackest Night Wave Black Lantern Batman. Here he is beside Diamond Select Marvel Select Thanos and Lady Death. Here he is beside Lanyard Toys City Hunter Predator and Xenomorph Drone. And finally, here he is beside NECA Toys Dungeons & Dragons War Duke and Grim Sword. So while I don't think this is as perfect as it could have been, on the whole, I'm not disappointed by this figure. Knowing that it was based off of the original Dracula body, one of the first ones that Jada Toys came out with, I kind of knew what I was getting into when I bought it. I kind of knew that it was going to be an outdated body, an outdated mold, even before I got it in my hands. Really, what I got it for was the Bela Lugosi likeness, that wired cape, which we'll talk about that in a second. And really, that was it. I just wanted to also just complete the Universal Monsters set, which, as it turns out, I have, because as I said at the beginning, Jada has unfortunately lost the licensing, which is disappointing. As far as this figure goes, though, if you missed out on the original Dracula, or if you don't have the original Dracula, this is a really, really, really good stand-in. I know it doesn't have that same Universal Monsters look and that same Universal Monsters feel because of just like the difference in the costumes, but it is Bela Lugosi. He is the iconic Dracula for Universal Monsters. He is the iconic Dracula for that era of monsters in general. The only other one that would come close is, I think, like Christopher Lee, who was Dracula for the Hammer series. I'm a little disappointed that the Bela Lugosi heads don't fit perfectly well onto the Universal Monster Dracula body. That may have been done intentionally. That may have been something that was involved with likeness rights and the deal that was struck with the Lugosi estate. I don't know. As I showed you, though, if you pop the collar up on the cape, you can kind of hide that. And honestly, I do think that's what I'm going to do. That I'm going to just swap heads around, sort of fake it, because I do like the look of Lugosi's likeness on that Universal Monster body. As far as accessories go, I am a little disappointed in how slim pickings the accessories were. I know this was based off of the stage production, but it would have been cool if he could have at least had some sort of candelabra to carry around, because I guarantee he carried something around on stage. I know I did when I played him. The marketing material that you get, the ads, the playbills, like the inserts, that's all really cool stuff, but I really feel like you're going to pull that out, you're going to look at it once, and if you're not going to lose it outright, you're going to put it back in its little baggie, it's going to go into the box, and it'll never see the light of day again, because you will be worried that you lose it. Halloween is here, and I couldn't be more excited, and I was really looking forward to popping this one open and getting a look at it first for the first day of Bricktober, and I think we're going to have a really fun time this year. I got a lot of stuff to take a look at, most of it action figure based, some of it not. I have some other like interesting little things to take a look at. That's actually going to be in the next video coming up. So until then, my friends, happy Halloween. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.